Great news. It's another Guess Your Productivity Bottleneck edition of the 25th Hour podcast. Today, you will get to hear the bottlenecks from four different amazing business owners: Ann Blair, Beth Menduni, Traci Bakenhaster, and Patty Ross. Listen in, and hopefully you can identify with at least one, if not all four, of these courageous and authentic entrepreneurs. Welcome, Ann. Thank you for joining me for the Guest Your Productivity Bottleneck.
Thank you for having me. I'm very excited.
I'm super excited to chat with you. I feel like we never get to catch up anyway, so this gives us an excuse.
I agree.
So this is the awesome Ann Blair, who is the owner, broker, and realtor at Remax Rising. Mm-hmm. What is it, do you think? What is the biggest challenge you face on making sure that you can get everything done that you want to get done in a day or in a week, or however you want to phrase it?
Yeah, I think the biggest challenge is just real estate in general. This day and age, most of you probably know it is a little bit crazy out here, and we are in multiple offers all the time and trying to make sure buyers get into houses as soon as possible. So it is challenging both for myself as well as trying to encourage and coach the other agents that are in our office in regards to the importance of, yes, we have our own lives, but at the same time, if something comes up and a house pops up and it's the right price and the right, in the right area that these people want, you literally almost have to drop everything and go, because if you don't, you don't have a chance to get that house at all for the buyers.
And have you always felt this way, that what I'm hearing, I think, is that you are at the mercy of the situation right now?
Right. No, and I've not always been this way. I think that this year has been, we have been blessed to be really busy and to be fortunate to have grown our office to have 8 agents. So I'm trying to keep everybody encouraged and also trying to keep everybody moving forward. But at the same time, making sure that people realize that this is real estate, and real estate is an on-demand business. It's just what it is. I know last year this time, I was able to easily, help clients and get clients what they needed, and not have to be like, okay, we've got to go like right now if you want to see this house. And now it is turned around. It is that way right now, just because there's such a short supply of houses on the market. So,
and if you, what are the things that you're not getting done because of the fact that you're so on demand?
Oh, if you could only see my desk right now. So I think, okay, so for example, we had a client appreciation pictures with the Easter money this past weekend. For 2 weeks, I wanted to sit down and call all of our past clients, especially ones that we haven't dealt with this year or may not be really close to me on Facebook, to say, hey, we've got this event coming up. I didn't get it done. I would think about it late at night, and it was like, okay, I can't call. I think about it first thing in the morning. I kind of take some time for me in the morning for me. And it didn't get done. So we had a great turnout, but it wasn't, I was hoping for more because I was hoping to reach more people.
Okay. What else are things that aren't getting done right now?
In regards to business or regards to personal, they're a little bit different. I think business wise, we're trying to set up more of a office where we can do more trainings and more classes. And I think now, because all of the agents are just scrambling all over, we're not getting that done, which makes it difficult. Personally, I'm not getting home till, 8, 9 o'clock at night sometimes, because I try to catch up with my stuff here at the office that I wasn't able to do in that, 6-7 hour time frame, or if I'm out and about showing houses. So, some of that personal stuff I'm not getting done that, I would like my laundry's been sitting there for 3 days now because I don't have time to put it away. So.
Okay. All right. So here is what I think, because I'm out of my 3 questions now. I kind of slid in a couple, tell me mores. But here's what I think your bottleneck is, because you're right. Right now, the industry is crazy. And I, for those of you watching, Ann and I have had a relationship along the way. So I know how she's handled a busy time before. And this is unlike any busy time that she's ever had. And I think the bottleneck isn't so much potentially that you have to jump to get out there and be very reactive and get your potential buyer to the house while it's still there, as much as it is that you could have or you utilize a plan B type of a resource. So as you're speaking about getting more people to the Easter Bunny thing, that's not an Ann Blair owner, broker, realtor job anyway. And as you're talking about some of those family things, like I think your bottleneck is that you're not completely staying in your lane, and you can utilize other resources so that you can be reactive when needed to your clients, and the other work still gets done because it's not your work anyway.
That is absolutely true. You are correct.
There we go. There we go. It took me a minute to get my head around, but because you're a great realtor and a great owner and a great broker, and there are pieces that you need to do that are only Ann.
Right. And I have a perfect solution. My mom keeps asking me, what can I do to help you? What can I do to help you? How awesome would that be that my mom is making calls on behalf of me in regards to talking to clients?
Yeah.
Lisa, you're brilliant.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So for those of you watching, here's the process Ann and I just went through very quickly. It's AWE, awareness, work, and evaluation. The awareness was, let's find what the real problem is, because it is so easy right now. And Ann and I are, we both feel this way. I can speak for Ann in this. Like, it's a crazy market, and it's so easy to be able to say, it is what it is. I'm just going to have to suffer through it. It's a blessing. I'm happy to be busy, and everything else gets put on hold until I can make it. But that's not the case. Like, there are still things that you can do. So it's making sure that we can dig into what is the actual challenge. That's the awareness piece. The W piece is the work. And you heard Ann come up with a potential solution right here on the spot. Her mom. And then the E phase is evaluation. We'll check and make sure that that's working. Did we really identify the right bottleneck? How does that work? So if you are wondering about your bottleneck, you can go to impactivestrategies.com/fix and check out our Fix Your Productivity Bottleneck in 28 Days class. And if you're looking to sell or purchase a home in the Northeast Ohio area, I know a realtor who's really good at what she does. So make sure you reach out to Ann at Remax Rising.
Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you. Welcome to another episode of Guess Your Productivity Bottleneck. Today's guest is Beth Menduni, who is the owner of Marketing Department, where they create videos that convert. Thank you, Beth. Thank you for playing along today.
I'm so excited to do this. Let's get ready to figure out my bottleneck. What is it? Productivity bottleneck.
Yes, productivity bottleneck. We are going to guess it.
Yes, I feel like Vanna or like a game show host.
Exactly. Right? Like, this came off of the idea of when you're at the fair or you're at like Cedar Point and or Kings Island, and they guess your weight or your age. So like, this is way better. Like, productivity bottleneck, way better than weight or age.
Because I'm not going to get a stuffed animal. I'm going to get some answers and some clarity.
Exactly.
That's important to me.
That is right. You get the awareness of the actual challenge. All right. So question number 1.
Okay.
What do you think is your biggest challenge from getting everything done that you want to get done each day?
I am distracted. I love coming up with solutions and getting creative ideas, right? Like, it's a never ending chatterbox in my brain of how something could be solved. And I think I get so excited and I love that process so much that the execution stumbles, halts a little bit. So where I get stuck is I love the creation and the visionary aspect. It's the execution. And so I've been working with my team to get it out of here and on paper. Like that has been our focus.
Okay. So when you first started, you said, if I heard you correctly, you said distraction, lots of ideas. And then you just moved it into not so much distraction and ideas, but moving the ideas into execution.
Correct. That's where it is. Moving
That's where it
from
is.
phase 1 to 2, going from my ideation to execution.
Okay. Has it always been that way?
Oh yeah, I'm a creative. I'm an artist at heart. So right, or what is it, right brain? Yes, it's always been this way.
Okay. And what have you done to try to counteract this challenge?
I have a lot of places to be creative. And case in point, my desk, I can write on it. It's dry erase, right? I got a giant wall I can color on and stuff like that. So I love that ideation phase, but now we actually have to translate it into something that's digital and actionable items. So that process, my account executive has been working with me to get it out of here, to get it on paper, and to get it executed. So she'll run it through the rest of the team, but it just has to come out of here first. Did I answer your question? What have I tried to do?
Yes.
Okay. So it's really trying to understand the process because we have an amazing process. We do the ideation phase and then we run the process for producing the videos and the stories. So it's really just getting it from here and transcribing everything from Beth's brain onto a digital platform so that the entire team can take the direction and run.
Okay. And follow-up question to that. What has been your process to get it from Beth's brain into that digital platform so far?
So far, we use, we have our meetings, right? We take notes, we transcribe our meetings. So we actually record and transcribe and take notes at the same time. So it's not just us doing key points. It's if you get stuck, you go back and you listen to what we've talked about. And truthfully, I sat down, I think in 2018, 2019, and walked through every single step in my video production process and cataloged it. So now we have an operations manual to be able to hand over and know for my account manager for any of our teams to know who's responsible for what and what they need to do next.
Okay, so I'm going to have to grab a bonus question here.
Okay.
Because we're now on question. Some of those I could couch as follow-up questions, but like this is going to be a total bonus question. What part of that process isn't working?
Where we always get stuck is the transcription from Beth's brain to the next step. It's because when we are producing somebody else's story or producing somebody else's video, there's this ideation phase that needs to occur. And you've got to sit and marinate on some of these concepts and ideas before you select the right path to take. And I think that's kind of, what was restate the bonus question again?
The bonus question was what part of the process that you have isn't working?
I think that we're still in that phase of trying to identify how to do the translation from my brain to paper.
Okay. So then if we take what we just did and we look at the beginning, your bottleneck was too many distractions. Then you restated that to say it's getting it's getting from ideation phase to actual implementation.
Yeah.
And now we've whittled it down to where there's one tiny piece of the bottleneck because you've created the structure and you have all the processes in place. There's one tiny piece and it's translating just I think it's the big idea. It's translating the big idea out to where people can then move it into the process. Is that accurate? Is it the translating of the big idea? Or is it the translating of what is it that's not being what is it that you're struggling to get translated? Let me rephrase.
Well, I mean, I think our team has My team has really worked to ask me the right questions to get it out of here and into the next thing. So we have a couple of things we borrow from Brene Brown when she says paint done, right?
Right.
So
Right.
my team knows to say, Beth, what does done look like for you? What things do we need to take? Let's talk about action items. What are the next step each of us have to do? So we actually break it down. And I have a list of things I have to accomplish to give it to the next person. Because I always say it sucks to be the caboose when you're on a train. It sucks to be the last person. And typically that's the editor in the process for what we do. So we never want to put our editor in pain so that they can't be as creative as they should be or can be. Yeah. So, I mean, I think we've identified it. We're working through it.
Yeah. So I am still trying to figure out what part's not working.
I don't know.
Yeah. And so that's why I'm wondering if we haven't missed completely the bottleneck, because you have a process, you are working through it. They are getting the pieces from your brain into there.
I think it's
And
consistency.
okay.
I think if we, because we do have this process and we've worked through it and we're making a lot of progress, I think it's consistency. And we just had a new team member come on board. So we just onboarded her. So we're like, we had this amazing machine like working, and then one of our lovely staff people, she had to leave. She was offered another position and she had to take it. Like, I love her. I wish her the best. I'm bummed because I trained her too damn well is what happened. And she got an amazing offer. She had to take it. But now we're restarting that process with a new person and onboarding them there. So I think we just had a little bit of a hiccup, if you will, in our cadence. So that consistency has to be retrained. And it's a new person. So they're bringing all these different perspectives to the organization and to our team, and honestly making it better. So now we're rethinking how to do it. But it is that consistency of always having the path and following the process. Sometimes
I was just going to say it's following the process that works, even if it's being tweaked along the way. It's following the process. So I think, Beth, tell me if I'm right. I think we've got there. It went from distracted to implementation to ideation to getting the things out of your brain into theirs to actually following the process you have that works.
Right.
Yes. Awesome. Okay. Super excited about that. Now, for those of you watching, here's what just happened. We're going to take a peek behind the curtain. One, Beth was awesome, and she allowed me to ask way more than 3 questions to get there. But when we look at my process, it's AWE, awareness, work, and evaluation. And we just spent our time today in the awareness phase. You cannot fix what you can't identify. And if we would have stopped and tried to fix, I'm easily distracted, we would be missing the whole part of the fact that they have a really great process that works as long as they consistently follow it. So that's the awareness phase. The W phase is that work phase where you start to figure out how do you get in and fix and tweak and create structure and do whatever needs to be done so that they will consistently follow that process. And then E, the last part, is evaluation. And it is to make sure that once you fix that problem, you didn't create an unintended challenge along the way, which can happen, or that you didn't misidentify the bottleneck along the way. So that's the process we just went through with Beth. And notice how we spent so much more time in the awareness spot than anywhere else, because if you fix the wrong problem, you might as well not be fixing a problem at all. So if you think that you have a productivity bottleneck, I encourage you to go to impactivestrategies.com/fix to check out our Fix Your Productivity Bottleneck in 28 Days program. And if you want to create videos that convert, I know a gal, her name is Beth, and she is at the marketing department, and you want to reach out and make sure that you contact her. Her contact info will be in the comments below. Thank you so much, Beth. Thank you.
Hey, this was fun. Thank you.
Today, I am joined by Traci Bakenhaster, who is the owner of Design and Renew Career and Finance Coaching. And she is agreed to be a guest on Guess Your Productivity Bottleneck in 3 Questions or Less. Welcome, Traci.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here. Let's find this bottleneck.
I know, let's. All right, so let's start off with our intro question of what do you think is the biggest challenge you face getting everything that you want to get done each day?
I think the biggest challenge, honestly, is just having enough time. Just in general is sometimes a challenge, especially lately. I find myself working, in the evenings and on the weekends. And so sometimes that is a challenge. I just have a lot going on.
Okay, so let's see if we can dig in a little bit deeper to find out what might be causing have enough time. Because maybe it is that you legitimately have too much to do and not enough time, or there could be something else. So tell me more about what you're doing throughout the day.
Yeah, so the last 2 weeks that's taken the most time was switching into a new software system. So it was Dubsado is what I was switching into. And so I had to create all the templates, all the workflows, all of those things, which definitely took quite a long time. Now that it's all up, it's good. It's nice and easily automated, which is fabulous, but it was definitely a process. And then the same with my membership area that I'm soon to be launching. I had to go in and create all the content. I created the graphic images that I liked for, the groups and all those types of things. And I'm still working on reaching out to guest speakers and those types of areas. So it's just been a lot of kind of back end prep work, which I know is not all the time. Once it's set up and it's good, but that has definitely consumed my life for the last 2 weeks for sure. And even before that, one of my VAs is out on maternity leave, and she's supposed to come back in April, and she hasn't said if she is yet. And I'm like, oh, I got stuff I need her to do. So yeah, it's just a little bit of those unknown things going on in those larger scale projects right now.
So when you say not enough time, and then you mentioned that you had these 2 projects on your plate, is that consistent? Like, is it that you're okay and then a project comes that puts you over the threshold or not?
I would say, yeah, that's probably the standard. Is normally if it's a new project or setting something up, like I'm doing okay. And then something happens like a big project or an opportunity. And then I'm like, I take that time now to either make a presentation or build out content or do this or do that. And some of it isn't easy delegatable because a lot of it is just like the knowledge. And I know my process. I can't just say, hey, go set up the system for me when I don't even know what the system looks like. So that's been a bit of a challenge.
Okay. So I think that your bottleneck isn't necessarily too much to do, not enough time, as much as it is around managing the project based on the available time that you have in your schedule.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I mean by that, but you're nodding, so I think I'm on the right path, is you chose the date when to launch your group program, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when you chose the date to launch your group program, did you circle back and look into the amount of time you had available to do the prep work on that?
Yes and no. So the challenge was I had the lady who told me about it was able to set it up for me, but I thought it was going to be done within like a week, and it ended up taking like 3 weeks because she had a lot of other big projects on her plate she was working on, and mine was kind of minimal. So it kept getting pushed back. So that kind of really wrecked my timetable for sure, as I was planning on having a lot more time to invest in this, not just like a week. So yes.
Right. Okay. So I think if we dig in, I think that's that piece is, so thank you for clarifying, because so here's a rule of thumb that I used. You're going to use a bonus for you and for everyone watching right now is when I estimate time, I give myself a buffer. And I use a special buffer. So if it's something I've done before and I'm pretty confident I know how long it's going to take, I give myself a 1.5 buffer. So if I think it's going to take me an hour, I give myself an hour and a half, just in case stuff happens. If it's something I've never done before, I multiply by 3.
Okay.
So if it's an hour, I give myself 3. And then this is my own personal one. If it's anything involving tech, I just multiply by 10 because I just know that I don't know what I don't know. And so my estimation skills are vastly underrated. And so I just do that big multiplier there. And so I think that's where we're at, because you did look at what your time was available and you'd never done the project before. And I don't know whether or not you've worked with this person before, but there was that lack of clarity around if she could hit the deadline. And then you were stuck on the deadline. So I think your bottleneck is just giving yourself some, like we said the other day, space and grace around what you have so that you can stick to your work hours.
Yeah. Yeah.
How
I
does
think
that
I get
feel?
unrealistic. I do have unrealistic expectations. I'm like, oh, I'll get it done by the end of the week. It'll be fine. I can do this. Yeah. So definitely giving myself more buffer time makes a lot of sense. Something I should do.
Yeah. Well, and and what I love about this process, and in full disclosure, Traci and I know each other. And what's great about this process is we went through the AWE acronym and process. Was awareness, and you knew there was something because you were working outside the hours that you had chosen to work, and you've been really diligently trying to stay within that container.
Mm-hmm.
And then the W is that work answer of, okay, now what? And so we delved into it a little bit. The multiplier of 1.53 and 10 may or may not be the right solution for your challenge, but that's an example of the W, the work phase. And then E is the evaluation of, let's circle back later and make sure that our solution is actually working for the problem and it didn't uncover another problem.
Mm-hmm.
So we just went through feel pretty confident we hit your bottleneck, right?
Yep.
Yes. And then we hit the W, which may or may not be the right solution for you, but it's a path. And then evaluation will happen in a couple of weeks when you can look back and say, hey, yeah, it worked. No, it didn't.
Yep. Absolutely.
Awesome. All right. So for those of you who are watching right now, special thanks to our guest, Traci. And you can reach her at Design and Renew Career and Finance Coaching. And if you're wondering, what is your bottleneck costing you? I invite you to go to impactivestrategies.com/cost. And there's an easy worksheet where you can plug in a couple numbers and you can find out what your bottleneck is actually costing you each and every day. Welcome to another episode of Guess Your Productivity Bottleneck. I am joined today with Patty Ross, coming all the way in from California. So Patty is the owner of Golden State Marketing. Busy business owners who are super overwhelmed with their marketing choices hire Patty to help them be free to do what they love to do instead of worrying about their sales. So thank you, Patty, for playing today.
Thank you.
What do you think is the biggest challenge you face trying to get everything that you want to get done each day?
Time. I need a 36-hour workday.
Yeah.
But beyond that, not happening. Really where I'm at right now is I realize I do need to hire somebody. I'm a solopreneur and I have a lot of busy work and I'm not focusing on the profit producing activities as much. So it's figuring out how to hire somebody, how to pass them what I do. That's all in my head. And I do just want to, my impatient self is just sit down, know what I want you to do and just do it. But I know, again, that's not realistic either. And I need to figure out how to take all that out of my head and put it into processes and procedures to train somebody to take that over.
Okay. So what I'm hearing you say right now is you think your bottleneck is the fact that you need to hire someone to take part of the work. And then part of that hiring thing is even the process of getting it from your head into theirs.
Exactly. Yep.
Okay. All right. And if you had someone in place, what would that free you up to do?
Sweet. A little bit of that, but really to do the profit producing activities, being able to expand and have that time to reach out to new opportunities and really stop and be able to think about those, because I'm always working in my business. And as much as I want to grow it and try different things, I don't have the time because I'm trying to do it all myself and working around the clock, it feels like.
Okay.
and not feeling guilty if I take off time and have, fun.
Who would have thought you started your business to have fun?
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. How dare I?
I know. Who would have thunk it? And throughout the day, is there any, so if we take away the fact that you're effectively doing 2 jobs or
Mhm.
more, because you're
Yeah.
balancing all the hats, is there anything else that, other than the sheer volume of work, that keeps you from getting done everything that you want to get done?
Anything else? Well, potentially um productivity. I mean, I always hate that, like managing time management of your day. I'm also chapter president of NABO Los Angeles, so that's my other full-time job almost, as you know. So balancing everything, and I think it's just like really having way too much on my plate. I can, and constant Zoom calls and meetings and things that interrupt, and figuring out, can I carve out time where I'm just stopping and like focusing on those profit producing activities, or time to train, do some training manuals, or figure out, because I can bring somebody and, have somebody in mind to have them sit down next to me tomorrow, but what do I tell them to do? So I think that just, yeah, I think it's just, it could be some time management stuff as well.
Okay. And
Yeah.
so I think, Patty, that you are the first person since I've started doing this who actually has identified their biggest bottleneck first. So congratulations. So
I cheated and watched your previous video.
I know. I was like, you had a head start. You watched the one we did earlier with Margaret Brown.
Yeah.
But I really do think it's the fact that there's too much on your plate just for you to be able to accomplish. And that there are, I'm hearing based on a couple other things that you're saying, some underlying bottlenecks. This one though is the big one.
Yes.
And then once that, once you are able to, and I think it's a multi layered problem, identifying what exactly is your role and what is not, then identifying the person to whom it's going to go to, or persons,
Yes.
then identifying how do you get the information out of your head and into theirs.
Exactly.
Like, it
have
is
the
a
time to do
multi-step.
that.
Yeah, but once
Yeah.
you have that stuff off, you can
Yeah.
breathe.
Mhm.
And then the other bottlenecks that are under the surface, they'll start to pop up, but they're not going to be as big
Yeah.
as that one. So congratulations for being the first one to know what their bottleneck is.
I win a prize.
Yeah, you do. You win the awareness that you were right. So.
All right, I like that. I needed that, so that's a good prize.
Yes, right. So you win that. So for those of you who are watching this right now, if you also know, like Patty, this is perfect, that you have a bottleneck and you're wondering how much it's costing you, jump on over to impactivestrategies.com/cost. And I have a nifty little worksheet there that you can figure that out. And if you're looking for someone to help you with your marketing, I know a gal, her name is Patty. Be sure to reach out at Golden State Marketing. Hope you enjoyed listening to today's Bottleneck edition of the 25th Hour Podcast. Send an email to lisa@impactivestrategies.com and let me know. What's your takeaway from today's episode? Also, if you would like to see how much your bottleneck is costing you, go to impactivestrategies.com/cost.